The planet was strange, unlike anything Alex had ever seen. Its sky shimmered in shades of violet and teal, with twin suns that never truly set, casting long, shifting shadows across the jagged terrain. The air was thicker than Earth's, carrying a faint metallic taste, but Alex had adapted quickly during his month stationed here. Humans were rare on this distant planet, mostly serving as soldiers, peacekeepers, or diplomats under the guidance of the Galactic Alliance. Yet Alex had never imagined that his duty would bring him face to face with royalty, the alien kind, with powers and responsibilities beyond his understanding. He was walking along the palace outskirts, observing the heavily fortified walls and the patrolling drones that moved like silent metallic insects. The alien kingdom of Zephyra was considered one of the most technologically advanced civilizations in the sector. Yet even with their sophisticated defenses, danger was always close. Alex's instincts, honed through years of military training, told him something unusual was happening today. A sudden shout pierced the otherwise calm air. Alex immediately crouched behind a cluster of crystalline rocks. Through the shimmering haze, he spotted a figure struggling against 3 attackers. The figure's movements were elegant, deliberate, yet she was clearly in danger. It was her, Princess Leora. Alex had seen portraits and holo recordings of her before, tall, graceful, with silver hair that seemed to glow under Zephyra's suns, and eyes that reflected the endless depth of her world. But seeing her in person, vulnerable and surrounded by danger, made his chest tighten. The attackers were not typical soldiers. Their armor was jagged and dark, and their weapons emitted sharp pulses of energy. Alex recognized the danger immediately. If the princess fell, the kingdom could plunge into chaos. He didn't hesitate. He sprinted toward them, feeling the familiar surge of adrenaline. The attackers noticed him instantly. One of them lunged, swinging a blade of condensed energy, but Alex rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the strike. He fired his pulse pistol, a standard human-issue weapon, at another attacker. The shot grazed the enemy's armor, causing a sharp yelp. The third attacker raised their weapon to aim at the princess again. Without thinking, Alex charged, tackling the attacker with sheer force, sending both tumbling down the uneven terrain. Leora's eyes widened, not in fear, but in surprise. Humans were fragile compared to Zephyra's elite soldiers, yet Alex moved with determination and fearlessness that even her people rarely exhibited. "Get back!" Alex shouted, dodging a strike and countering with precise, deliberate moves. His experience in hand-to-hand combat, honed through Earth's toughest training programs, gave him an edge. The attackers hadn't anticipated a human, acting so boldly in the face of danger. The skirmish was brief but intense. Alex managed to incapacitate 2 of the attackers, while the third retreated into the shadows of the crystalline cliffs. Leora stepped back, her breathing steady but rapid, watching him with curiosity and a hint of admiration. You saved me," she said, her voice calm but tinged with astonishment. Alex offered a small, modest smile. "That's my job," he said simply. "I don't like seeing anyone in danger." She studied him, her silver eyes scanning his every movement. "I've never seen a human act like this. You are fearless." Alex shrugged. "I'm just doing what I should. No one deserves to be hurt, especially not someone important." His words were plain, simple, but they carried a weight she didn't expect. "Important," she repeated softly, almost to herself. Leora was the princess of Zephyra, trained from birth to lead, to inspire, and to protect her people. Yet she had never seen someone act for her sake without expectation, without fear. "We need to move," Alex said, glancing around. "They might come back, and there could be more of them." Leora nodded, though her movements were careful and deliberate. They moved quickly through the rocky terrain, avoiding the main patrol routes and slipping into a dense forest that bordered the palace grounds. The forest was filled with towering plants, their leaves broad and luminous, creating a patchwork of shadow and light. Strange creatures rustled in the underbrush, but Alex's senses were focused solely on the path ahead. "You are very fast," Leora said quietly, keeping pace with him. And strong. Stronger than most humans I have seen. Alex allowed himself a small grin. I train a lot. Fighting is part of my life. But I'm not doing this to prove anything. Then, why? She asked, curiosity softening her voice. Why risk your life for me? Alex looked at her, considering how to answer. Because it's the right thing. Someone had to protect you, that's all. Her eyes lingered on him, thoughtful. She wasn't used to such plain honesty. In SCIFI-HFY, politics and appearances mattered more than simple truth. Yet here was a human who didn't care for titles or rank, who acted because he believed it was right. As they continued through the forest, a sudden noise made them freeze. Alex signaled for silence. Shadows moved among the trees, subtle but deliberate. Another ambush? He couldn't tell immediately. He stepped in front of Leora, scanning the area with alert eyes. A pair of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. Alex tensed, ready to defend. But it wasn't an enemy. It was a small creature, no bigger than a fox, with translucent wings and a gentle hum in the air around it. It observed them for a moment, then scurried deeper into the forest. Leora let out a soft laugh, the first sound of ease since the attack. Your world has no creatures like these, she said. They are harmless, but fascinating. Every world has something new, Alex replied. Part of being a soldier is noticing the small details, not just the big threats. They walked in silence for a few moments, the air heavy with tension but also a strange sense of connection. Despite the danger, Alex felt a calmness he hadn't expected. Being near Leora, seeing her strong yet vulnerable side, made him determined to keep her safe, no matter what came next. Finally, they reached a hidden clearing known only to the princess and a few trusted aides. Leora glanced around, satisfied that they were safe, for now. She turned to Alex, her expression serious. You saved me, human. Not many would dare. But this is only the beginning. There are forces at play you don't understand yet. Some in my own palace might want to harm me. Alex's brow furrowed. Inside the palace, someone betrayed you? It seems so, she said quietly. I don't know who, but I must be careful. You have already proven yourself. Perhaps you can help me navigate this danger. Alex nodded. I'll do whatever it takes. You won't face it alone. Leora studied him, her mind racing. Humans were fragile, yes, but they had a resilience that aliens rarely recognized. This human, Alex, was different. His courage wasn't just physical, it was quiet, steady, and unwavering. Suddenly, a communication device buzzed in her hand. Leora answered, listening intently. Her eyes widened slightly, then she turned to Alex. That was my palace guard. They've confirmed that the attackers were mercenaries sent by an unknown faction. They might have spies within the palace walls. We need to return, but carefully. Alex's hand instinctively went to his weapon, but he kept it low. We can do this together. They moved cautiously, back through the forest using hidden paths that only Leora knew. Every step brought them closer to the palace, yet the tension grew. Every shadow could hide a spy. Every sound could signal an attack. Finally, they reached the palace gates. Leora signaled for the guards to open the hidden access point. Once inside, she led Alex to a private chamber where they could rest and plan. The room was elegant, adorned with soft fabrics and glowing crystals, yet it felt strangely intimate compared to the vast cold halls of the palace. You've done more than any human could be expected to do, Leora said softly, settling onto a cushioned bench. I owe you my life. Alex shook his head. You don't owe me anything. I did what I had to do. That's all. She studied him, her silver eyes reflecting a mixture of gratitude, curiosity, and something else, something unspoken. Humans were unpredictable, yet in their unpredictability lay strength. Strength she hadn't expected to see in someone so small compared to her people. As the suns dipped lower, Casting long shadows across the room, both knew that this was only the beginning. Danger was far from over. But Alex, the human soldier, had already changed the course of her day, her life, and perhaps the future of the kingdom. And somewhere, deep within the palace, unseen by either of them, eyes watched. The queen had been informed of the human's actions. Powerful, calculating, and rarely moved by emotion, she now considered the implications of Alex's bravery. A human had. The palace of SCIFI-HFY was enormous, a structure of silver spires and crystalline walls that shimmered under the twin suns. Alex had never seen anything like it. Every corridor gleamed, every doorway seemed to lead to wonders he could hardly imagine. Yet despite the beauty, the palace carried an undercurrent of tension. Danger could be hidden behind the most elegant walls. And today, Alex was about to step into the heart of that tension. Princess Leora led him through a series of twisting hallways, her movements graceful and confident. She didn't walk alone often, and the presence of a human by her side turned heads and drew curious glances from palace staff. Guards whispered quietly among themselves, astonished that a human, a fragile species in their eyes, had acted with such bravery. "Why are you bringing me inside?" Alex asked, careful to match his pace with hers. "Because you need to understand," Leora replied, her silver eyes glinting. "You've done something almost no human has ever done. But bravery alone is not enough here. The palace is filled with secrets, some are dangerous, and you need to know what you may be facing." They entered a private chamber far from the main halls. The room was warm, softly lit by the ambient glow of crystalline lamps. It was filled with maps of SCIFI-HFY, holographic displays showing patrol routes, palace defenses, and possible weak points. Leora gestured to a console at the center. "These," she said, tapping a display, "are some of the dangers we face. Mercenaries, spies, and rival factions all aim to destabilize my family. Your intervention today did more than save me. It may have prevented a greater disaster. But now the question is, can you survive in a world that sees humans as fragile?" Alex leaned closer, studying the displays. He noticed the routes, the hidden entrances, the security gaps. "It's complicated," he said. "But if you let me help, I can find solutions. I'm trained to handle situations like this, maybe in ways you don't expect." Leora smiled faintly. "You are confident. That is unusual. Most humans are cautious, timid. You are neither. But caution and intelligence are both necessary here. Courage alone may not save you." Alex nodded, understanding. "Then tell me what to do." She motioned to a holographic figure representing her father's advisor. "This is Terran. He's loyal to my family, but not everyone in the palace is. You need to know who can be trusted. Today's attack may have come from someone very close. I cannot rule anyone out yet." Alex frowned. "So, this could be bigger than just today's fight?" "Yes," Leora said, her voice firm. "Much bigger. You saved me, human, but your presence now puts you at the center of palace attention. Some will admire you, others will resent you. You must be careful." The words were heavy, but Alex didn't flinch. He had faced dangerous situations on other planets before, but nothing like this. A world of politics, secrets, and unspoken threats. Yet his focus was simple: protect the princess. That was all that mattered. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the chamber. A holographic message appeared, summoning Alex to the throne room. He looked at Leora. "The queen," she said softly. "She wishes to see you. Alone." Alex's heart raced slightly. The alien queen was known across the galaxy for her intelligence, her decisiveness, and her strict rule. Few dared approach her without proper respect or the right credentials. Now Alex, a human, was about to step before her. They walked together through the long corridors, the palace growing quieter as they neared the central hall. The walls were smooth and reflective, showing faint images of past rulers and significant events. Alex couldn't help but feel the weight of history pressing down on him. Finally, they arrived at a massive door, taller than any Alex had ever seen. Leora stepped aside, gesturing for him to enter. The throne room was grand, bathed in natural light from the crystal ceiling. The queen sat on a raised platform, regal and commanding. Her presence was undeniable, even from across the room. Her eyes, sharp and discerning, immediately focused on Alex. "You are the human who saved my daughter?" Her voice was calm but carried authority, echoing slightly in the vast hall. Alex straightened. "Yes, ma'am. I did what I had to do." The queen studied him silently, her gaze intense. Alex could feel her evaluating every movement, every expression. He did not flinch. He met her eyes steadily, showing neither fear nor arrogance. "You acted with bravery," she said finally, her tone unreadable. "And skill. Few humans would dare to face Zephyra's enemies, let alone protect a royal. Yet, you are human, fragile, limited. How do you justify placing yourself in danger?" Alex took a deep breath. "Because it was the right thing to do. She needed help and I could give it, that's all." The queen leaned slightly forward, intrigued. "Few beings act without expectation of reward or recognition. Most serve only themselves or their species. You are different." Alex shrugged. "I don't want reward. I just want to keep people safe, that's all I understand." The queen regarded him silently for a moment longer. Then, with a subtle gesture, she dismissed him. "You may leave. For now," she said. "But know this. Your actions have consequences. Not all eyes will view your bravery as they should. Some will see weakness, some will see opportunity." Alex nodded, bowing slightly before turning to leave. Leora followed him, her expression thoughtful. "You passed the first test," she said softly once they were in private corridors. "The queen rarely admires anyone immediately. You have earned her attention. That is not simple." Alex laughed quietly. "I don't need admiration. I just want to make sure you're safe." Leora's smile was gentle, almost wistful. "You are unusual. Humans are fragile, yes, but you have something rare, courage that does not falter. It is inspiring." They continued through the palace, reaching a quiet courtyard filled with glowing plants and gentle fountains. Alex paused, observing the beauty. Despite the danger and politics, Zephyra had moments of peace, moments that reminded one why protecting this world mattered. "I should train you in some ways," Leora said suddenly. "Not because you lack skill, but because understanding Zephyr's defenses and combat style may save your life." Alex raised an eyebrow. "You want to train me?" "Yes," she replied firmly. "If you are to remain close, if you are to protect me again, you must understand our ways, our tactics, our strengths, and our weaknesses." Alex smiled. "I am ready to learn." Over the next few hours, Leora introduced Alex to the basic strategies used by Zephyra's soldiers, their techniques for moving silently, their defensive stances, and even some tactical uses of energy manipulation that were foreign to him. Alex adapted quickly, using his human agility and intelligence to combine his knowledge with her teachings. He noticed that she was impressed not only with his ability to learn, but also with his calm demeanor under pressure. As training ended, they sat near a small fountain, the gentle flow of water filling the quiet space between them. "You could have stayed out there," Leora said softly, her gaze on him. "You didn't have to risk yourself. Most humans would have fled." "I didn't think about that," Alex admitted. "I just knew I had to help. It didn't feel like a choice." Leora nodded slowly. "Perhaps that is what makes you remarkable. You act without hesitation, without calculation, yet with purpose. Few beings I have met are like that." Alex looked at her, his eyes reflecting sincerity. "I'm not special, I just care." "Care," she repeated, her voice thoughtful. "That is a quality not all possess, especially not in places of power." The sun's twin rays dipped lower, casting soft shadows across the courtyard. For the first time since the attack, a sense of calm settled over them. Yet both knew the calm was temporary. The palace had eyes everywhere, and danger could strike at any moment. And somewhere, far above them, in the highest spire of the palace, the queen observed. Her eyes were sharp, calculating and filled with curiosity. This human had earned her attention. Not many had, and fewer still would remain in her daughter's world without proving themselves over and over. She did not yet speak, but in her mind, a question began to form. Could this human truly be trusted? Could he remain and change the balance of power in ways even I cannot foresee? For now, Alex had survived his first encounter with the queen, learned some of Zephyra's ways, and strengthened his bond with Princess Leora. But the real test of loyalty, courage, and understanding was only beginning, and the queen was watching. The morning light filtered through the towering crystal windows of Zephyra's palace, casting patterns on the polished floors. Alex woke with a sense of purpose. Today would be different. He was no longer just a visitor in the palace. He had a role, a responsibility, and every step he took now mattered. Princess Leora was waiting for him in the training courtyard. Her posture was straight, her expression calm yet commanding. Today's session would be more intense. She had decided it was time to push him beyond basic understanding, to see if his courage could match his intellect. Today we will focus on strategy under pressure, Leora explained. Zephyra's enemies are clever. Bravery alone is not enough. You must learn to anticipate moves, to think several steps ahead. Can you handle that? Alex nodded, tightening his fists. I can. I want to learn. She led him to a series of holographic targets that floated in the air, shimmering like translucent panels. These will simulate intruders or hostile forces. You must neutralize them, but without harming anyone else. Accuracy, timing, and judgment matter equally. Alex took his stance. The first target glowed red, signaling a threat. He moved quickly, dodging, striking, and neutralizing the holographic threat with surprising efficiency. Leora watched closely, noting his adaptability. You learn fast, she said, her voice carrying a hint of approval. But speed alone is not enough. Consider your environment, your options. Use strategy, not just instinct. Alex adjusted his approach. He began analyzing the patterns, predicting the sequence of threats, and reacting with calm precision. It was more than physical skill, it was mental. With each simulation he improved, demonstrating not only agility but also reasoning. After several hours they paused. Sweat glistened on Alex's forehead, but his expression remained determined. You are progressing well, Leora said. But now comes a test. Something real, not simulated. Are you ready? Alex's heart raced. Real tests were dangerous, often unpredictable. I'm ready. She led him to a secluded wing of the palace. The hallways were narrow, dimly lit, and quiet. Here the palace's usual activity seemed distant, almost irrelevant. Leora stopped before a large door. Inside is a challenge designed for Zephyra's most skilled protectors. You must retrieve the crystal orb at the center without triggering traps. It will test your reflexes, intelligence, and composure. Alex studied the door, then glanced at Leora. And if I fail? Failure has consequences, she replied, her tone calm but firm. But the point is to learn. Even mistakes teach more than success alone. Taking a deep breath, Alex entered. Inside, the room stretched wide, filled with intricate mechanisms and faint energy fields. Moving panels, pressure-sensitive tiles, and shifting walls created a labyrinth. The orb rested on a pedestal in the center, glowing faintly. Alex paused, observing. Rushing in would trigger alarms or worse, traps. He took slow, careful steps, noting the floor patterns and timing of moving panels. Every instinct he had learned in past training exercises guided him. A tile shifted beneath his weight, sending a soft click echoing through the room. He froze, recalculated, and adjusted his path. Slowly, deliberately, he approached the pedestal. Each step required patience, balance, and focus. Then, suddenly, A faint whirring sound began, signaling a trap activating. Alex leapt to a side platform, narrowly avoiding a swinging blade that would have cut through steel. He landed lightly, steadying himself, and continued. Finally, he reached the pedestal. The orb glowed brighter as he touched it. Alex held it, feeling its smooth surface beneath his hands. It was heavier than it looked, radiating energy that seemed almost alive. With the orb in hand, he retraced his path carefully, navigating the traps he had already studied. A panel shifted unexpectedly, but he reacted with calm precision, sliding beneath it just in time. He emerged from the challenge room, breathless, but victorious. Leora waited outside, her expression unreadable. Then slowly, a smile spread across her face. "You succeeded," she said softly. "Most experienced Zephyra soldiers fail this test. You passed. Remarkable." Alex handed her the orb. "It was difficult, but I focused. That's all." She studied him, her eyes reflecting. "Admiration, focus, courage, intelligence, and you have them all, and yet something more sets you apart. Most beings act only to protect themselves or gain advantage. You protect others without hesitation. That is rare." Alex shrugged modestly. "I just want to keep people safe. That's all I know." Leora nodded, then gestured for him to follow. "Come. There is someone you need to meet. Someone who will further test your understanding of Zephyra and your ability to adapt." They walked through silent corridors until they reached a room filled with high-ranking advisors and palace officials. At the center stood a figure in elaborate armor, the symbol of authority, unmistakable. This was General Vera, commander of the Palace Guard. "You are the human who saved the princess," the general said, his voice deep and commanding. "I have heard reports. Many question how a human could act with such courage. But here you stand. Explain yourself." Alex straightened. "I acted because it was right. The princess was in danger and I could help. I did what anyone with the ability to protect would do." General Vera studied him silently, then nodded slowly. "Bravery is only one part. Strategy, discipline, understanding Zephyra's strengths and weaknesses. That is what we value. Do you possess that, human?" "I am learning," Alex replied, "and I will continue to learn. I want to help not just today, but whenever needed." The general's gaze lingered on him, intense yet measured. "Many would say your species is weak, easily broken. Yet, here you are, standing firm. That alone is unusual." Alex met his gaze without hesitation. "I may be human, but weakness is not defined by species. It's defined by choice. I choose to be strong. I choose to protect." A faint smile crossed the general's face, a rare acknowledgement of approval. "Very well. You have potential. But remember, Zephyra is not forgiving to those unprepared. Strength, courage, and wisdom must all be balanced." After the meeting, Leora guided Alex to a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. The sun had climbed higher, illuminating the fountains, flowering plants, and softly glowing crystals embedded in the pathways. "You handled the test well," she said, "and you impressed the general. That is no small feat. Few humans could navigate challenges designed for our soldiers. Few could stand firm in a room filled with advisors and command without faltering." Alex smiled, feeling a small surge of pride. "I only did what I had to do." "But you also proved something else," Leora continued, her voice gentle. "You belong here in some way. Not as a human visitor, but as someone who can face our world, learn, adapt, and even influence it. That is rare and dangerous." Alex frowned slightly. "Dangerous? Yes," she replied. "Being noticed is a risk. The Queen watches closely. Others may envy or resent you, and yet you are still here. That choice speaks volumes about you." Alex took a deep breath, absorbing her words. "I don't care about envy or resentment. I care about keeping people safe, and I care about you." Leora's eyes softened, a flicker of emotion passing across her face. then you are truly different. Humans are not known for their dedication to others in the face of such peril. You challenge every expectation." They stood in silence. For a moment, the palace garden stretching before them, serene and peaceful. But both knew the calm was temporary. SCIFI-HFY was a world of intrigue, power, and constant observation. Every step Alex took would be scrutinized, every decision weighed. Yet one thing was certain. Alex had survived his first real test, earned the respect of the palace general, and deepened his bond with Princess Leora. And somewhere, high above, in the palace spires, the queen observed. Her curiosity had turned into cautious interest. For now, Alex had proven his worth. But the trials of SCIFI-HFY were far from over. The palace had many secrets, many threats, and many eyes watching him. And the queen, she was only beginning to understand the human who had dared to defend her daughter. The day passed in a blur of activity, yet Alex could not shake the feeling of being observed. Every glance from a palace attendant, every whispered conversation seemed to carry a weight he did not fully understand. SCIFI-HFY's palace was alive, with subtle power plays, and he, a human, had just proven himself enough to be noticed, not just by the princess, but by forces far greater. Late in the afternoon, as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the crystalline halls, a servant appeared at Alex's door. "The queen requests your presence," the servant said, bowing slightly before retreating. Alex's heart skipped a beat. The queen. He had heard tales of her intelligence, her ruthless judgment, and her ability to see beyond the obvious. He had expected challenges from her guards, tests from advisors, even subtle manipulations. But a direct audience with the queen herself was something else entirely. He straightened his posture, adjusted his clothing, and followed the servant through winding corridors. The hall seemed quieter than usual, almost expectant, as if the palace itself held its breath. Finally, they arrived at a massive set of doors, carved from dark crystal, inlaid with silver glyphs that shimmered faintly. The servant knocked once, twice, and then moved aside. Alex stepped in. The room was vast, illuminated by a gentle, natural light that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. At the far end sat the queen, regal and imposing, her eyes, sharp and calculating, fixed on Alex immediately. She wore a gown of deep blue that shimmered subtly, and a crown that denoted both authority and tradition. "Human," she said, her voice clear and resonant. "I have heard of your deeds. You protected my daughter when many would have fled. That is commendable." Alex bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I did what I thought was right. The princess was in danger, and I could not stand by." The queen's gaze softened just slightly, though her posture remained unyielding. "Most humans are self-interested, fragile, and predictable. Yous are not. Tell me, why should I not see you as a threat, or worse, a liability?" Alex met her gaze steadily. "I am neither a threat nor a liability. I cannot change what I am, but I can choose what I do. And I choose to protect those in need. That choice does not change based on fear or reward." A subtle smile curved the queen's lips. "You speak with confidence, and a clarity that surprises me. Few beings, even those who have trained in SCIFI-HFY's arts, speak so without hesitation. And yet, courage alone is not enough. Strength alone is not enough. Tell me, human, what do you understand about loyalty?" Alex thought for a moment. Loyalty was something he had learned on the battlefield, in situations where trust was scarce and betrayal common. "Loyalty," he said, "is standing by someone not because it benefits you, but because it is the right thing to do. It is choosing to act for others, even when it puts you at risk." The queen studied him silently, then leaned slightly forward. "Interesting, your words are sound, but words can be empty. Actions reveal truth." At that moment, a soft alarm echoed through the palace. Alex's senses instantly sharpened. The queen noticed his reaction and raised an eyebrow. "Ah, you are alert. Good. Tell me, human, what do you sense?" Alex glanced at the guards, the crystal walls, and the subtle movements of shadows in the corners. "There is a disturbance near the eastern wing. Someone or something is moving quietly, trying not to be seen. It could be an intruder or a spy. Either way, it needs attention immediately. The Queen's eyes narrowed, then she leaned back, observing him carefully. You are correct. There is a spy, a subtle, skilled one. Your senses are remarkable. Perhaps there is more to you than I first understood. Alex remained calm, though his mind raced. Detecting the spy was one thing. Confronting them would be another. He waited for the Queen's instructions. Follow me, she said, rising with a grace that made her appear both regal and powerful. I want to see how you handle this. They moved swiftly through the corridors, the Queen's presence commanding the attention of all who saw her. Guards stepped aside, bowing automatically, and attendants held their positions. At the eastern wing, a faint shadow darted along the walls. Alex's instincts kicked in. There, he whispered, near the security panel. Someone is trying to access restricted areas. The Queen nodded subtly. Neutralize the threat without unnecessary confrontation. I wish to see your approach. Alex took a deep breath. He could rush forward, but that would risk alerting the spy and potentially endangering others. Instead, he moved silently, approaching from the opposite side, using the corridor's shadows as cover. The intruder, a SCIFI-HFY operative disguised with subtle illusions, did not notice him until Alex was close enough to block their escape. With calm precision, he disarmed the operative, rendering their weapons inactive. The Queen appeared beside him silently, her expression unreadable. Impressive, she said softly. You handle yourself well under pressure, and with minimal force. Most would panic, most would overreact. You do not. The operative, now subdued, looked at Alex with a mix of fear and grudging respect. Who are you? They asked. A protector, Alex replied simply. That is all that matters here. The Queen studied the operative, then turned her attention back to Alex. You have done well. Your actions speak louder than any words. Loyalty, courage, intelligence, all are evident. And yet, she paused, her eyes narrowing slightly. I must consider the implications of a human in Zephyr's palace. Your skill and your choices make you both valuable and dangerous. Alex met her gaze. I understand, Your Majesty. I am here to help, nothing more. I do not seek power, recognition, or reward. My duty is clear. For a moment, the Queen's expression softened, though her eyes retained their sharpness. Very well. You have proven yourself once more. But know this, human. In SCIFI-HFY, loyalty is rare, and trust is earned slowly. Your presence will be watched. Every move, every decision, noted. That is the nature of this world. Alex nodded. I accept that. I am ready for it. She regarded him silently for a long moment, then finally said, You intrigue me. Few humans display such clarity and resilience. I will consider your future, carefully. For now, continue to protect my daughter and observe SCIFI-HFY. Learn its ways, understand its people. Your path is only beginning. With that, the Queen turned and left, her presence as commanding as ever. Alex felt a mix of relief and unease. Relief that he had navigated the encounter successfully, and unease because he understood the Queen's words. His actions had gained her attention, not just curiosity, but a keen interest. Princess Leora found him moments later, waiting near the palace gardens. How did it go? She asked, her eyes sparkling with a mixture of concern and pride. Alex recounted the encounter, including the intruder and the Queen's observations. Leora listened intently, nodding occasionally. You handled everything perfectly, she said. And now the Queen knows your potential. That is both an honor and a risk. Zephyr's Queen does not make decisions lightly. I understand, Alex replied. I just want to do what's right, protecting you and keeping the palace safe. That is all I ask. Leora smiled softly. Then you have already shown her your worth. But be prepared, Alex. The Queen's interest is not casual. Her attention can change everything. As the sun set over the palace, casting golden light across the gardens, Alex felt the weight of his choices more than ever. His journey in Zephyra was far from over. Every day brought new challenges, new threats, and new lessons. And somewhere, high above, the Queen observed, intrigued by the human who dared to protect her daughter without hesitation or fear. Alex knew one thing for certain. He could not retreat. His path was set, his purpose clear, and whatever trials lay ahead, he would face them with the same courage, intelligence, and unwavering loyalty that had brought him this far. The next morning, the palace was unusually quiet. Even the usual hum of attendants and distant echoes of daily routines seemed muted. Alex sensed something was happening. Something important. The Queen had not summoned him directly, but whispers among the palace staff hinted that today was significant. He made his way through the crystalline halls, his footsteps echoing softly against the polished floors. Princess Leora met him at the main chamber, her face calm but her eyes betraying a hint of worry. "The Queen wishes to see you," she said softly. "Prepare yourself. Today, everything may change." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had faced dangers, threats, and spies, but this, facing the Queen herself with no warning or preparation, was different. This was not about skill alone. This was about judgment, about trust, and about the choices he had made since arriving. In Zephyra, he followed Leora through a side corridor, one less traveled by ordinary staff, until they reached a grand hall adorned with statues of past rulers. At the far end, on a dais elevated above the polished floor, sat the Queen. She wore her deep blue gown with the same regal poise, but today her presence seemed heavier, more commanding. Guards flanked her, though they remained still and silent. "Human," the Queen said, her voice carrying through the hall like a steady tide. "You have served my daughter well. Your actions have been observed, your loyalty measured, and your courage tested. Few beings in Zephyra could accomplish what you have done." Alex bowed deeply. "Your Majesty, I did what I thought was right. My only aim was to protect the princess." The Queen's gaze did not waver. "Indeed. But protecting a royal is not the same as understanding Zephyra. To be in this palace is to walk a path filled with subtle rules, hidden dangers, and choices that test the soul." Alex straightened, his resolve firm. "I am ready for whatever challenges you deem necessary. I will do my best to learn, to follow, and to protect." The Queen leaned slightly forward, her hands resting on the armrests of her throne. Few humans speak with such conviction. Few humans act with such integrity. You have passed tests that were never set before you. The intruder you confronted, the princess you protected, your judgment under pressure, all have been noted. And yet, I must consider the broader consequences of your presence here. Alex felt a tension tighten in his chest. "I understand, Your Majesty. I am here to serve, nothing more." She studied him silently for several long moments, her eyes sharp, yet not unkind. Zephyra is a place where loyalty is rare and trust is earned over a lifetime. Yet your actions have created a ripple, a change in perception not just among the guards and the princess, but among those who observe from higher realms. You are a human, yet you embody qualities that even seasoned Zephyrians struggle to achieve. Alex's mind raced, trying to anticipate what this could mean. The Queen's words were praise, but her tone held an undercurrent of something more, something that hinted at expectation. "The question is," she continued, "how will you choose to continue? Will you remain a protector, limited to the princess's safety? Or will you embrace a larger role, one that involves trust, loyalty, and responsibility beyond your comprehension?" He took a deep breath. "Your Majesty, my duty has always been clear. I protect those who cannot protect themselves. I act with integrity, without seeking reward. If that means my role expands, I will accept it, as long as I am acting for what is right." The Queen's expression softened slightly, though. Her gaze remained intense. "You are unlike any human I have encountered. Your bravery, your judgment, your loyalty, they are remarkable. and yet you must understand the consequences. To serve Zephyra in this manner is to bind yourself to this world, to its rules, its people, and to me." Alex frowned slightly, sensing the weight of her words. "Bind myself. How, Your Majesty?" She rose slowly from her throne, moving toward him with a measured grace. "Zephyra's queen does not lightly bestow recognition, nor does she easily trust outsiders. But your deeds have changed my perception. You are not just a protector. You have proven yourself capable of understanding, courage, and wisdom. Such qualities demand acknowledgement and sometimes possession." Alex felt a chill, though he kept his composure. "Possession?" he asked cautiously. "Yes," she said, her voice steady. "In Zephyra, to be chosen by the Queen is to be recognized as indispensable. Your presence, your decisions, your loyalty, they are now part of the fabric of this palace, of my rule, and of the princess's safety. You will no longer be merely a visitor or a guard. You are now under my attention, under my interest, and under my claim." He paused, processing the meaning. It was not a threat in the usual sense. Zephyra did not operate with threats, but it was a claim of authority, a binding recognition of his importance and his potential. "I understand," Alex said finally. "I will continue to serve with integrity, and I will honor whatever responsibilities are entrusted to me." The Queen nodded, a faint smile appearing on her lips. "Good. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and loyalty are not limited to Zephyrians alone. You are a human, yet you have exceeded expectations that few of my own people could achieve." From the side, Princess Leora stepped forward, her expression brightening. "You have done more than protect me, Alex. You have shown wisdom, strength, and patience beyond what anyone could expect. I am grateful, and so is my family." Alex bowed to the princess, then looked back at the Queen. "Your Majesty, I will continue to protect the princess, and I will continue to learn the ways of Zephyra. That is my promise." The Queen studied him for a long moment, then spoke with calm authority. "So be it. From this day forward, you are recognized not just as a protector of my daughter, but as a presence within Zephyra that cannot be ignored. Your decisions, your actions, and your loyalty are now bound to this palace, to this world, and to me. That is not a constraint, it is a recognition of your value." Alex understood. He was no longer just a human wandering in an alien world. He was someone whose choices mattered, whose actions had consequences, and whose loyalty had earned respect, even from the most powerful being in Zephyra. The Queen extended her hand slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement rather than command. "You have earned a place here, human. Do not squander it. Continue to act with the courage and wisdom you have shown, and you will find that this world, though alien, holds opportunities and experiences beyond your imagination." Alex met her gaze steadily. "I will not fail, Your Majesty. I will honor the trust you have placed in me." A soft smile appeared on the Queen's face, and she stepped back, signaling the conclusion of the audience. Guards moved aside, and the hall slowly returned to its usual rhythm. Alex felt a mixture of relief and newfound purpose. He had been recognized by the Queen herself, a rare honor, one that carried both privilege and responsibility. "Princess." Leora linked her arm with his as they walked back toward the gardens. "You did it," she said softly. "You earned her recognition, and you've shown that a human can stand among Zephyra's finest." Alex nodded, feeling the truth in her words. "It's not about recognition," he said. "It's about doing what's right, protecting those who need help, and making choices that matter. Recognition is a result, not a goal." Leora smiled warmly. "Even so, the Queen's interest in you, that changes everything. Your presence here is no longer temporary. You are part of Zephyra's story now, and part of mine." They walked through the palace gardens as the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple. Alex felt a sense of calm determination. He knew challenges would come, that Zephyra was a world of intrigue, tests, and expectations. But he also knew that he had earned a place, not through force or cunning alone, but through courage, loyalty, and integrity. The day ended with a quiet promise between human and princess, protector and charge, and the unseen gaze of the queen, who now recognized the extraordinary potential of a human in her world. Alex had defended the princess, and in doing so, he had changed the course of his life, and perhaps the course of Zephyra itself. From that day forward, he would continue to protect, to learn, and to act with honor, and the queen, who had long held the reins of judgment and authority, now watched with interest, curiosity, and the beginnings of respect for the human who had dared to rise above expectation. Alex's journey in Zephyra was only beginning, but for the first time, he knew that his actions mattered. His choices counted, and his loyalty had earned him a place where he truly belonged.